Hello, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we are going to talk about the 10 books that I read in May. Yes, 10. Actually, I think it might be 9, but we'll talk about that. But 10, 9, 10, I don't know. I'll explain in a second. But 7, no, I'm lying. 9 of them directly off of my physical TBR, which is so exciting. And I'm so proud of myself, and I feel like I really locked in May. Tried to get a lot of books off my physical TBR because I felt like an overwhelming feeling of like, oh my gosh, I've had some of these books have been sitting here for so long, and I want to buy books, of course, like I always want to go book shopping, but it feels much more rewarding when you know you've been like completing the books that you have already spent money on and paid for, and they're just like sitting on your shelf. So anyways, I did read 9 for sure. The 10th one that I'm referring to is I listened to an audiobook and I had finished it and I never put it on my Fable, like never tracked it. And then I think it was like a week or two, like last week, I remembered that I read that book and I was like, oh my gosh. And I genuinely cannot remember if I finished it like at the end of April or at the beginning of May. So we're just including it, my May wrap up, if that makes sense. So that book was The Darkness Outside Us, I believe is what it's titled. I will put it up on the screen so that way you can see it. But I did listen to this just on audio. I had some Everend credits that I needed to use, which by the way, they now roll over, which is like, bestie, you should have always rolled over the next month. But anyways, I used one of my credits on The Darkness Outside of Us because I heard really good things about it. The reviews looked really good, and I didn't really enjoy it. I enjoyed some aspects of it. I think I rated it like a 3 stars. We're basically following the main character, and he wakes up on a ship in space, and basically his mission that he was sent on was to go and retrieve his sister from this planet because something, Earth is dying, whatever. His sister was sent on a mission to go find a habitable place for people to live, and when she found somewhere, she ended up sending a distress signal back. So he's basically on this mission to go and save her, retrieve her. And when he wakes up, he realizes there's another man on the ship, and all of these weird things start happening on this ship. And it was such a like mind-bendy, weird book. And then by the end of it, I just felt so unsatisfied with like how it ended and what they settled on. I don't know. I just felt like I went through waves of like, oh, this is really interesting. And then I would go through waves to be like, I genuinely don't really care about what's going on. And then I'd be like, well, that is really weird. So, like, what does that mean? Or like, now I'm interested again. And then the way it ended, I was like, yeah, I just don't really, I didn't really. And I mean, that's probably why I forgot to put it on my Fable, is because I just was so like, I don't even care. Like, I'm just so over this book. But it does have a lot of really good reviews, and it is an MM romance technically. I mean, it's not in the romance category, but there is an MM romance that is included in the book. So if that is something that you are intrigued by, or the entire premise sounds good, maybe try it out because a lot of people do really like it. I was definitely in the minority. So got that one out of the way. Next up, I'm going to talk about the 2 books that I most recently finished, actually, instead of starting at the beginning, because I just finished the second one this morning and it's very fresh on my mind. So I want to go ahead and talk about them. But I did read after I did do the 7 books in 7 days challenge in May, which there is a reading vlog up for that already if you wanted to go and watch that. But the next reading vlog that I will be posting is on these 2 books, which is The Will of the Many and The Strength of the Few by James Islington. These are the first 2 books in the Hierarchy series, and I'm actually going to set these down because these are extremely heavy. But I did read both of them, and this was such an amazing fantasy sci-fi series. I mean, we only have the first 2 books so far, so hopefully next year I think the 3rd one is coming out, and I'm so excited to read these. But basically in these books we are following Viz, and boy does he go on a freaking journey. Okay, like he basically, starting out, we're following him. They live in a world that is run by the Catanan Republic, and the Catan Republic has basically taken over absolutely everything. And you find out pretty early on that he is actually living under an alias as Viz. That's not his real name, and he's basically living in hiding because if the Republic found out who he actually was, they would obviously kill him. So he's living under an alias, and he's working at this prison, which in this world, their prisons, they have these things called sappers. And the way that the magic system is run in this, they call it will. So it's basically like a pyramid scheme. Like the people that are really high up in the pyramid, they get will from all the people underneath them, which is basically just extra strength, extra healing, extra power, extra everything, mental power, literally everything. So the people at the very bottom are basically just ceding their will to the people above them in the pyramid. And it makes them weaker, it makes them more tired, all of these things. So the sappers are these things in the prison that basically these people just, when they're sentenced to them, they just lay on them and it just sucks out all of their will into the people above them. So that's where he's working at the beginning of this, and then he gets introduced to this man named Ulquiskor, and Ulquiskor adopts him and tells him, I'm going to send you into the academy and you are going to be a spy for me because you're going to live a much better life than you are now. And Viz is like, you know what? Let's see what happens. And boy does he oh my god, he just, the journey that he goes on and all the people that he meets, all the information that he collects, the betrayal, the lies, like everything is just so interesting when you're reading this. The book one was definitely like 6 stars, god tier for me. I loved every single page of this book from the very beginning to the very end. I was so locked in, I was so gripped. Every single piece of information that we got, every side character, everything, I was so locked into. I absolutely loved book one. So definitely 5 stars for book one. Book two, The Strength of the Few, is insane. Like, it is so complex in this book. The way that book one ends, that leads into book two, it just breaks off into so many moving pieces, so many moving parts and people and information and everything that just makes this book so complex. I will say my like personal enjoyment went down just slightly because I had to focus so hard and like really make sure I was understanding and following everything that was going on, because it was really easy to be reading and then all of a sudden be like, wait, what? Like, wait, what is happening right now? So I had to like go back, like really focus and make sure I was paying attention while reading this because, again, there's just so many moving parts in this one. However, I did still thoroughly enjoyed it. Loved all the side characters still. Love Viz. He's such an interesting character. He's very calculated and logical. He sits back, he thinks logically about things, and he really thinks them through about where his next actions are going to take him, rather than like only focusing on getting revenge or only focusing on the vengeance of it all. Like, he is so focused and on the exact task that he is at hand with, and it's just so interesting to follow. So definitely 5 stars for this one as well, even though book one was definitely my favorite out of the two. Like, this one was just so, in my reading vlog, you'll see that will come out next week, but I explained it as like feeling, that feeling when we were younger and we were reading like Divergent and Hunger Games and all of these things, and it just felt so intense. You were just so locked in with all of these characters and on the edge of your seat and like wanting to find out more information. Like, that's what this felt like, but a little bit more elevated and a little bit more complex and adult, I guess. So I just absolutely love this. I cannot wait for book three. And James Islington, you are so talented, and I can't even imagine what's going on inside of your brain. And then I will just kind of quickly go through the 7 books in 7 days that I read, because there is a full reading vlog out on YouTube of me reading all of those. And then if you go to my shorts or even on Instagram, there's a daily vlog for each one. So I already talked about these books a lot, but the one on top actually was my least favorite out of all 7, and this is The Devil She Knows by Alexandria Bellefleur. This is a sapphic romance with some magical realism in there, and I just didn't like this. I was not connected to the characters. I felt like it was very silly almost. Like, sometimes books just feel like very quirky, silly, goofy, and I just didn't really like that. And the way that the plot went in this, I just wasn't fully expecting, and like beforehand going into it, I just was anticipating something different. And so I did rate this a 2 stars, I think, but again, a full reading vlog just out on this if you wanted to see. Next, I read The Skin of the Sea by Natasha Bowen. This was really, really interesting. If you like learning about different mythologies, and this one, it is like African mythology or Yoruba mythology. Really, really good, really interesting. I think I rated this 3.5. Everything to do with the mythology and the lore, I just thought was really, really interesting. And the fact that it had to do with like mermaids and finding like this artifact and all these things, it was just a really good, fun time. And if you enjoy YA books or mythology books, I would definitely recommend this. Then The Ballad of Jacquoette Delahate. This one, I didn't enjoy it as much. I think I rated this 3 stars by the end of it. But this one, this one's more like a pirate setting. And we're following Jacquoette and her adventures that she goes on and all of the hardships that she endures. And this actually did have a really happy, wholesome ending at the end of it, which I really enjoyed. That was probably my favorite part of this. And this one also does have a sapphic romance in it, which I was not expecting when I picked this up. When that part kind of got introduced to it, I was like, oh my gosh, like I really loved that part of this book. So I rated this 3 stars. I would just say like all of the like pirate adventures just kind of was just not very locked into it. And it was one of those books where if I wasn't reading it all in one day, I probably would have set it down and just been like, I'll get to that whenever, and then probably just let it sit on my shelves for a long time, just because I wasn't super interested in it. But 3 stars. And then I did read Queen Bee by Amalie Howard. This one I rated 4 stars. This one is a Regency romance, and we are following Lyra. Is that her name? This one, she's also under an alias, but her actual name was Ela, and I think her alias name was Lyra. But anyways, she got shunned from society when she was younger because there was this really mean girl named Poppy, and she spread this huge lie about her, and she had to basically like leave London. Conjures up this big plan to go back into society under an alias. She like changes her hair, does this whole thing, and when she goes back to get her revenge, she accidentally ends up falling for one of the people that she felt wronged her in the initial situation. So it kind of got a little bit messy. It was really, really cute. I think it reads like a YA. I'm not sure if this is actually YA. It was in the romance section. So it reads like YA, but it still was really, really good. There's a lot of chess references in this, which I thought was just really cute. And the way that everything came together at the end was really cute and really wholesome. And yeah, I really like this. I rated it 4 stars. I just love a Regency romance. Like, give me all the Regency romances. If you have any Regency romances that you really love, please let me know, because I love Regency romance. Save my 2 5 stars for last. Then I read Insatiable, which is of course the first book in the Edge of Darkness trilogy by Leigh Rivers, and I actually really enjoyed this. I've actually thought about this a few times since finishing it, and I would say my biggest issue is with this was how spicy it was. There were spice scenes on like every single chapter, I feel like. But other than that, it was really interesting. There were a few plot lines that were going on with this that I felt like were very, very intriguing, and I really, really liked them. So I will definitely be continuing on with book 2. It's not something that I will like rush to go and pick up book 2, but whenever I need like a palate cleanser or I'm in the mood again for a dark romance, I will definitely pick up book 2, because all of these characters I just really enjoyed. I felt like everything to do with Tobias, like I'm just really excited to see where that leads into the later books. So this was really fun. I think I rated it like 3.75. And then my 2 5 stars that I read in the 7 books in 7 days challenge. The first one was Honey and Spice. I absolutely loved this book. If you are planning on picking up this book, I would highly recommend the audiobook and listening to it, or immersive reading it with the audio, because the audiobook narrator did such a good job. I feel like I could still hear her voice in my head. Like, she just was so, so, so fantastic, and she did a really great job of getting across like the sarcasm and the funny moments, and really laying out their personalities in a way that made so much sense listening to it rather than reading it. But yes, in this we're following Kiki and Malachi, and Kiki has her own radio show and Malachi has a film project that he's working on. So you get to follow both of those like media projects during this, and that also makes the audiobook really fun because it kind of like sounds like they're recording. They kind of start like a fake dating situation, but I would say like my favorite, the best way I could describe this book is just the perfect modern day love story. Like, they were in college, they were doing their own thing, they were they had their own traumas and personal situations that they were dealing with, but they also were, you know, still very young and wanting to fall in love and impressionable. The other 5-star that I had in that video, and the last book that we will talk about for my May wrap up, is The Davenports by Krystal Marquis, and I cannot stop thinking about this book. This was actually the first book that I read in that vlog, and we started out so strong. This is a historical romance. It's not Regency, but it's still historical, and I ate it up. It was so good. We actually get 4 different romance stories in this, which I think is so cool, because I feel like with a lot of romance books, and like if it's a series, like romance series, it's like one book for each couple, but I feel like that kind of almost takes a little bit of the fun out of it, because you know that they're going to be together by the end of it. And then book 2 is going to be a new couple and they're going to be together by the end of it, and so on and so on. So this was so fun because there was only one couple in this, and then closer towards the end, there was like a second couple that I was like, oh, I feel like their story is not going to be wrapped up in this book. Like, we're going to have to go to the second book, which is so fun because it like keeps you on your toes, and you're like, oh my gosh, are they going to figure their things out? Are they going to be together by the end of this? I just love that we were following so many different romances in this, and it was just so cute, and it was historical. There was a lot of learning points in this as well, and actual real information from our actual history. So it was just really good. We're following the 2 Davenport sisters, their older brother, one of their friends, and then also a girl who is a maid and works for the Davenports and kind of grew up with them. So a lot of different people that we're following. Yeah, it just was so good, and I absolutely love this book. And the second one is called The Davenports More Than This. It's like a purple cover, and I cannot wait to read this. I was so happy that when I did the 7 books in 7 days, that my 2 5-stars both have a sequel, because that means I get to go and read more of them and pick up more by these authors, which is just so cool. So yeah, that is the 9/10 books that I read in May. Hopefully that wasn't just like a huge ramble sesh. I have reading vlogs for all of these coming out except for The Darkness Outside of Us, so you'll still see me talking about all these books. So I just really quickly wanted to do a wrap up. This was probably these 3 right here. Let me grab them. These 3 were my favorite books of the whole month. And you know what? Your girl has range. These are very different books. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite book of May was, or your least favorite book of May was. I would love to know, and I will see you on my next one. Bye.